Almost immediately after the announcement of the big ExxonMobil XTO merger, Ed Markey announced he would hold a hearing on that deal. Well, today, true to his word, the chairman of the House Energy and Environment Subcommittee had the heads of both Exxon and XTO in his hearing room. The result? Well, very little talk about the business transaction, but a major focus on the role of natural gas in the U.S. economy. Clean Sky's Tyler Suiters was there. And Tyler, let's start with what was talked about this merger first.
Well, generally, Susan, on the business side of this transaction, the issue is the immense size of this proposed deal. As Republican Joe Pitts pointed out during his opening comments today, the ExxonMobil XTO merger would create the largest U.S. natural gas producer, which in turn would then have the largest U.S. natural gas reserves. As we've reported, this is a $31 billion deal. Bloomberg puts that number at $30 billion. The New York Times puts that number at $41 billion. In any event, it is immense. And Ranking Member Joe Barton really got to the heart of this issue during his line of questioning with these witnesses today. Barton is from Texas, and during his opening comments, he made a reference to his friends, as he put it, at Exxon and XTO, both with deep Texas roots. And Barton asked these two CEOs quite simply, what do each of these companies get out of this proposed merger?
There are enormous unconventional resources globally in many countries that would be very important, not just to their country, but to the global energy balance.
Do you classify the tight shale formations that XTO has as an unconventional?
Yeah, unconventionals would be the shale gas, coal bed methane gas, ultra-tight gas, and XTO, the type of resource holdings that XTO has amassed here in the United States, ExxonMobil has been taking acreage positions in countries around the world.
So you get a domestic resource base. What does XTO get by merging with ExxonMobil, Mr. Simpson?
Our main advantage would be having brought it to here. The opportunities we face are so large that we need capital to explore those and to tap those successfully. Now, we also enjoy joint expertise, which we'll put together. Their advanced R&D and their global scale will bring exciting opportunities to the staff we've assembled.
Now, throughout today's hearing, one subcommittee member after another praised the role of natural gas going forward here domestically. The Dems driving Waxman Markey last year. Ed Markey, for one, said that natural gas is our bridge fuel to a clean energy economy. And then there's Jay Inslee, who is huge on zero-emission energy in the future. He says he sees domestic natural gas reserves as crucial to that vision. The Pennsylvania lawmakers weighed in on the value of the Marcellus Shale. Democrat Mike Doyle, Republican Joe Pitts, they both touted the success that their state has seen from shale production so far. Then there's John Sullivan, a Republican from Oklahoma, a co-sponsor of the House Nat Gas Act, the one that T-Boone Pickens is backing as well. He said that natural gas is a perfect transportation fuel precisely because of shale production, the hydrofracking technology that all of this has unlocked in domestic reserves. The bottom line here for virtually every member who spoke today, natural gas is critical to successful climate legislation.
It is well known that natural gas will play a more prominent role in a carbon-restrained world. In fact, the success of any climate change policy will need to rely heavily on natural gas. Yet some members of Congress are seeking to pursue policies that would take a majority of our domestic natural gas off the table. I strongly oppose those efforts, and it sounds like Secretary Chu agrees with that sentiment.
I've long supported the development of domestic natural gas resources as one of the solutions to meeting the growing energy demands in the United States, and this proposed merger between ExxonMobil and XTO Energy demonstrates the importance of unconventional gas resources for our energy portfolio. We've had enormous success in my state of Pennsylvania with horizontal drilling and natural gas shale plays, and I'm hopeful that the merger between these two companies will produce even better technology and more efficient drilling techniques.
I am a small partner in a natural gas well in Johnson County, Texas, in the Barnett Shale, and that is probably my 4-year-old son's college education. So I am very supportive of the concept of domestic energy production. I'm very supportive of private ownership and stewardship.
Now, one more note from Subcommittee Chairman Markey. During his first round of questioning, he asked these CEOs about coal versus natural gas for electricity generation. And Bob Simpson answered that XTO, his company, realized all the way back in 1996 that a low-carbon economy was on the way. And that's when XTO, he says, shifted from being an oil and gas company to a natural gas-only company. Simpson also said that the U.S., Susan, has not only an ever-growing need for natural gas, but also an ever-growing domestic supply of natural gas because of these shale formations.
So, Tyler, with the representative of big oil there, was there talk about the House or Senate climate bills?
Democrat Jay Inslee, during his questioning, he said that if Exxon's planning for a carbon-constrained world, this actually came during his opening comments, pardon me, he said if Exxon is planning for that change, quote, we'd like a little help from Exxon in the Senate passing a climate bill, looking for influence from ExxonMobil toward the legislation we're waiting for in the Senate, which passed out of this House Energy Committee back in June. Tillerson, during the round of questioning from Inslee, did get to answer that question. He said, quite frankly, yes, we are planning for that. And over the last few years, he says ExxonMobil has really identified the growing importance of natural gas.
Here in the United States, we expect natural gas demand to grow about 20% over the next 20 years. It's going to grow in its relative contribution, much of which is due to our view that eventually there is already an incentive, I think, among most consumers and companies to lower their carbon footprint, so there's a natural incentive. Natural gas also provides, from an energy efficiency standpoint, a number of favorable attributes as well. So it was in a consideration. I wouldn't tell you that we priced it in. I would tell you that in all of our investment decisions, though, we have in our economic modeling, we put a carbon price in our economic decisions and project something for the future so that we at least are considering what the effects on our investments might be in the years to come.
Now back to the business side of this transaction, something that was discussed today during the hearing. The ExxonMobil XTO merger contract, which contains something of an out clause for Exxon here. It says if Congress passes laws making hydrofracking, that is this particular kind of extraction of natural gas from shale formations, illegal or commercially impracticable, then Exxon can pull out of this proposed merger. And fracking became a major topic of discussion during the hearing today. Committee members essentially looked for more information on the process. The two witnesses both said that their companies had no evidence of water contamination through hydrofracking, and one of the co-sponsors of the FRACT Act itself in the House showed up, spoke even though she wasn't a member of this committee, and actually took the time to clarify exactly what her legislation would do were it passed. An interesting discussion surrounding all of these players, Susan. We'll have a closer look at what was discussed and what happens going forward on tomorrow morning's edition of the Energy Report.
All right, we'll look forward to that report. Tyler Suiters, thank you.
You're welcome.